Episode 1. The Journey to ChronoVille. In a land where imagination had no bounds, two adventurous siblings, Henry and his younger brother, Charlie, embarked on an extraordinary journey. The world they lived in was one of whimsical houses and enchanted landscapes, where the boundaries of reality and fantasy blurred seamlessly. One crisp morning, the siblings found themselves standing at the threshold of an adventure that would change their lives forever. Henry, the elder of the two, with his old-fashioned suspenders and a hat tilted just so, held a well-worn suitcase in one hand. Charlie, wearing a red cap and his favorite overalls, carried a small backpack filled with essentials for their journey. They both stood on the old railway tracks that led to a mysterious portal, shimmering with the hues of 1,000 sunsets and the glimmer of untold stars. "Are you sure about this, Henry?" Charlie asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. "Absolutely," Henry replied with a confident grin. "The stories say that this portal leads to ChronoVille, a place where time itself is a playground. We might even meet Dad there." Charlie's eyes widened at the mention of their father, who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances years ago. "You think we'll really find him?" Henry nodded, determination gleaming in his eyes. "I do. And even if we don't, just imagine all the amazing things we'll see." As they approached the portal, the air around them seemed to crackle with energy. The railroad tracks led directly into the swirling vortex, a gateway to unknown adventures. They took a deep breath, held hands, and stepped forward together. The moment they passed through the portal, the world around them transformed. They found themselves in a vibrant, fantastical landscape. A grand clock tower loomed in the distance, its gears and cogs whirring melodically. Hot air balloons floated gracefully in the sky, and peculiar houses, some shaped like teapots, others like giant pumpkins, lined the streets. "Wow, look at that!" Charlie exclaimed, pointing at a house made entirely of candy. "This place is incredible." Henry smiled. "It sure is. Let's head to the clock tower first. If there's any place to find clues about Dad, it's there." As they walked, they encountered various inhabitants of ChronoVille. A mechanical mouse scurried past them, tipping its tiny hat in greeting. An elderly woman with silver hair and a robe that sparkled like stardust offered them a warm smile. "Welcome, travelers," she said kindly. "Are you new to ChronoVille?" "Yes," Henry replied. "We're looking for our father. He disappeared a few years ago, and we think he might be here." The woman's eyes twinkled with sympathy and curiosity. "Many come to ChronoVille seeking answers. The clock tower is a good place to start. But be wary, for time here flows in strange ways."
"Thank you."
"Thank you," Charlie said politely. They continued on their path, marveling at the wonders around them. The closer they got to the clock tower, the more they felt a sense of purpose and excitement. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and that countless adventures awaited them in this magical land. As they reached the base of the clock tower, Henry turned to his brother. "Ready for this, Charlie?" Charlie nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "Ready as I'll ever be." Together, they pushed open the heavy doors of the clock tower and stepped inside, ready to face whatever challenges and discoveries lay ahead in the heart of ChronoVille. Episode 2. The Clock Tower's Secret. The interior of the clock tower was a marvel of engineering and artistry. Enormous gears turned slowly, each tick and tack resonating through the vast chamber. Intricate mechanical contraptions and ornate decorations adorned the walls, creating an atmosphere both grand and mysterious. Henry and Charlie exchanged a glance, their excitement tinged with a hint of nervousness. They started to explore, their footsteps echoing on the polished floor. "Look at this place," Henry whispered in awe. "It's like something out of a dream." Charlie nodded, his eyes wide. "Do you think Dad's been here?" Before Henry could answer, they heard a voice from above.
"Who goes there?"
"Who goes there?" it called out, stern yet not unkind. They looked up to see a man descending a spiral staircase. He was dressed in a long coat, with round spectacles perched on his nose and a pocket watch chain dangling from his waistcoat. His face was kind but lined with years of experience. "We're looking for our father," Henry said, stepping forward. "He disappeared a few years ago, and we think he might have come here." The man studied them for a moment, then nodded. "Many come to ChronoVille seeking something or someone. I am Professor Cogsworth, the keeper of this tower. If your father is here, the records in the Chrono archives might hold a clue." Henry and Charlie followed Professor Cogsworth up the spiral staircase, which led to a large room filled with books and scrolls. The walls were lined with shelves that stretched up to the ceiling, and the air was filled with the scent of aged paper and ink. "Here we are," Cogsworth said, gesturing to the vast collection. "The Chrono archives hold records of all who have passed through this portal. Let's see if we can find any mention of your father." As they searched through the records, Henry couldn't help but admire the meticulous organization of the archives. "This place is amazing. How do you keep track of everything?" Cogsworth smiled. "It's a labor of love. Time is a precious thing, and each record is a story waiting to be told." After what felt like hours, Charlie let out a gasp. "Henry, look at this." He held up a scroll with their father's name on it. Henry took the scroll and unrolled it carefully. The document detailed their father's arrival in ChronoVille and his subsequent activities. It mentioned that he had been seeking something called the Eternal Compass, an artifact said to have the power to navigate through time itself. "The Eternal Compass," Henry read aloud. "That's what he was after. But where is it?" Cogsworth frowned thoughtfully. "The Eternal Compass is a legendary item. It's said to be hidden in the Labyrinth of Time, a place where the past, present, and future intersect. Many have tried to find it, but none have succeeded." Henry looked at Charlie, determination in his eyes. "We have to find it. If Dad was looking for it, it might be the key to finding him." Cogsworth nodded. "I admire your courage. The Labyrinth of Time is dangerous, but if you're determined to go, I can help you prepare." They spent the next few days gathering supplies and learning everything they could about the labyrinth. Cogsworth provided them with maps and tools, and the people of ChronoVille offered advice and encouragement. On the morning of their departure, Cogsworth handed them a small, intricately designed device. "This is a timekeeper. It will help you navigate the labyrinth. Use it wisely."
"Thank you."
"Thank you," Professor Henry said sincerely. "We couldn't have come this far without your help." "Be careful," Cogsworth warned. "The labyrinth is full of surprises. Trust each other and stay focused on your goal." With that, Henry and Charlie set off on the next leg of their journey. They followed the map through the winding streets of ChronoVille, eventually arriving at the entrance to the Labyrinth of Time. The entrance was a grand archway covered in ancient symbols, with an air of both wonder and foreboding. "This is it," Charlie said, taking a deep breath. "Are you ready?" Henry nodded, gripping the timekeeper tightly. "Let's find Dad." They stepped through the archway and into the labyrinth, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the world around them shifted and changed, they knew they were one step closer to uncovering the mysteries of their father's disappearance and the secrets of ChronoVille. Episode 3. Into the Labyrinth of Time. The air inside the Labyrinth of Time was thick with an eerie stillness. The walls seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly glow, casting shifting shadows that danced and twisted as Henry and Charlie made their way deeper into the maze. Every step they took echoed, a constant reminder of the monumental task ahead. Henry held the timekeeper in his hand, watching its delicate mechanisms whir and click. According to Professor Cogsworth, this device should guide us. We need to trust it. Charlie nodded, looking around nervously. I just hope we don't get lost. This place feels like it's alive. The labyrinth was a bewildering array of corridors, each turn leading them into new and unpredictable environments. One moment they were walking through a lush, ancient forest, the next they were standing in the middle of a bustling, futuristic city. The timekeeper's needle swung steadily, guiding them forward. As they walked, Henry and Charlie talked about their father. The conversations were a way to keep their spirits up and stay focused. Remember how Dad used to read us those adventure stories before bed? Henry said with a smile. Yeah, Charlie replied. He always made them sound so exciting. I never thought we'd end up in one ourselves. Hours turned into days, and the labyrinth's trials grew increasingly difficult. They faced puzzles that tested their wit, traps that required quick reflexes, and illusions that played tricks on their minds. Despite the challenges, they pressed on, driven by the hope of finding their father. One day, they reached a vast chamber filled with mirrors of all shapes and sizes. The timekeeper's needle pointed straight ahead, but the way was unclear. Which way now? Charlie asked, his voice echoing off the mirrors. Henry studied the timekeeper. It's pointing forward, but these mirrors are in the way. Maybe we need to find something in here. As they explored the chamber, their reflections multiplied, creating a disorienting maze of images. Charlie noticed something odd in one of the mirrors, a reflection that didn't match their movements. Henry, look at this. Charlie pointed to the mirror. That's not us. They approached the mirror cautiously. The reflection showed their father, holding the eternal compass. He looked at them with a mix of hope and determination. Dad! Henry shouted. Can you hear us? Their father's voice echoed through the chamber. Henry. Charlie. Is it really you? Tears welled up in their eyes. Yes, it's us. We've been looking for you. Their father smiled, though his expression was tinged with worry. I knew you'd find me. But you need to hurry. The labyrinth is collapsing. The eternal compass will guide you to me, but you must solve its riddle first. The image of the eternal compass in the mirror began to glow, and symbols appeared around it. Henry and Charlie quickly took out a notebook and started jotting down the symbols. It's a puzzle, Henry said. We need to figure out what these symbols mean. Charlie studied the symbols, remembering their father's stories about ancient languages and codes. These look like constellations. Maybe we need to align them somehow. Using their knowledge and the clues their father had left, they worked tirelessly to solve the riddle. Hours passed, but finally, the symbols aligned perfectly, and the eternal compass in the mirror began to spin. Look! Charlie exclaimed as a portal opened in the mirror, revealing their father standing on the other side. Come on, Henry urged. We have to go through. They stepped into the portal, feeling a rush of energy as they were transported across time and space. When they emerged, they found themselves in a room filled with intricate machinery and glowing artifacts. Their father stood before them, looking both exhausted and relieved. "You did it," he said, embracing them tightly. "You found me." Henry and Charlie held on to their father, overwhelmed with emotion. "We missed you so much," Henry said. "I missed you too," their father replied. "But we need to leave this place. The labyrinth is unstable, and we have to get back to ChronoVille before it collapses." With the eternal compass guiding them, they retraced their steps through the labyrinth, narrowly avoiding its final collapse. When they finally emerged back into the open air of ChronoVille, they were greeted with cheers and applause. Professor Cogsworth rushed to meet them. "You did it. You found him." Their father nodded, holding up the eternal compass. "Thanks to my boys. They're true adventurers." As they walked through ChronoVille, reunited at last, Henry and Charlie knew that their journey had changed them. They had faced incredible challenges, but more importantly, they had found their father and brought him home. And as the sun set over the wondrous city of ChronoVille, they knew that their adventures were far from over. The mysteries of time awaited, and together, they were ready to face whatever came next.